what's possible in your life? So I want to think about that. What is possible? How many would like to have better energy throughout your day? Or you'd like to lower your blood pressure? Or as Alan was talking about, how do you create better focus throughout your day? So again, step back for a second. Maybe you'd like to lose a couple pounds or whatever it might be, but I want you to think about what is possible. And also start with this. If you ask any organization, what is the greatest asset of your organization? Everybody says the same thing. It's your people. But here comes the second question. What's the greatest asset of your people? It's their health. Now, I came out with a new book this year, just came out in January. It's called Rest, Eat, Move. And we always were trying to kind of like, oh, we'll get to the wellness thing, but it's a foundation of pillars. So I'll keep going back to that question over time. And we know through the pandemic, when you don't have your health, you don't have a whole lot. So I want you to think about today, we're going to talk about playing offense with your greatest asset, and that is your health. Now, we've been all doing this for a long time. We're all feeling like we're still consuming out of that fire hose. I think we feel like stress is everywhere. Our cups are overflowing. So there's a lot of things going on in our world. But imagine if you had more in your tank. Imagine that. And if you had a skill, and I love what Alan said at the very beginning, are you successful in spite of your habits, or are you successful because of your habits? And I look at this, I'll be 65 years old in a couple months. I've been doing this 37 years. I'm always trying to get better. Now, again, I grew up on beefaroni, SpaghettiOs, bologna sandwiches, Kool-Aid and Pepsi, my drinks of choice. I had psoriasis, eczema, digestive health issues. The doctors gave me oral meds, topical creams, nothing seemed to work. Your son just has sensitive skin. I didn't. I was a terrible eater. But about my second year in college, I started eating better. My skin got better, and that was my driver in this profession. So wherever you are today, everybody's in a different place. It's all about how do we get a little bit better as time goes on. Now, before the pandemic, our health was not going in a great direction. So, and with the pandemic, we've never seen higher levels of mental health. Again, we don't have to reinvent the wheel here, but we're not moving in a great direction globally when it comes to our health. Now, I would probably say that on this webinar today, there's a lot of people on this, very smart crowd. But the two things we're not taught in school, number one is personal finance, and it's our health. Now, if you looked at this blood test, this is on our website. It's called Know Your Numbers. Our website's called On Target Living. And I have a full page, one handout. It's a handout you give to your doctor. And it's all these tests. And it's one page. It's so simple. You've all had your cholesterol checked, but how many of you had your homocysteine checked? Homocysteine is an oxidation marker which looks directly into heart disease. Right underneath that, we should all know this for COVID, it's called highly sensitive CRP, an inflammation marker. So again, most of you are like, I never heard of this before. You're not going to get these blood tests unless you ask for them. And if you scroll down a little bit further, and this is what I want you to wake up about, testosterone for both men and women is one of the greatest predictors of how you're aging. How many of you like to know how you're aging? So again, if your testosterone level is creeping down, you're not aging well, you're probably not getting enough rest. My point is this, we don't know this stuff. And if you don't know it, Alan was talking about self-awareness, how do you change it? So if you looked at obesity in 1970, because I love to talk about genetics. I hear this all the time. My wife's curses we don't get invited to dinner because people are always talking about eating and my blood pressure is too high, it's genetics. My cholesterol is out of balance, it's genetics. Well, I'm here to tell you, genetics play a role, but about 15% is genetics or less. Everything else is behavior. Now, in 1970, the entire nation is green, less than 10%. We had no obesity in 1970. Fast forward 20 years, hardly any changes in obesity. And then you got to scratch your head. In the year 2000, the South and Midwest, I'm in Michigan today, or in East Lansing area, South and Midwest, 25 to 30%. Today, the entire nation is over 32% obesity. If you have kids or grandkids, my wife Paula and I have been married 40 years. We have 5 grandkids, all under the age of 6. In the next 10 years, we're going to be at 40+% obesity. So this train's off the tracks. People ask me all the time, hey, Chris, you've been doing this 37 years. What's causing it? Simple. Stress has never been higher. We have easy access to unhealthy foods that taste amazing, and we don't move. So when you put that trifecta together, the lack of rest, we're not eating correctly in the movement, no wonder we're moving in a bad direction. So here comes a couple things I want you to write down. Number one is this. You have to understand, you can stumble into bad health, you can't stumble into good health. So that's the big takeaway right at the beginning. You have to be more intentional. You have to be more focused. We got to start talking about the process, but you can't stumble into good health. Number two, you got to start asking better questions. Now, if you've never seen this t-shirt before, this is my world every day. I will give you my direct email today. So if you have a question, you want to talk about this, but think about this. I start with a baby medication. Could be an acid blocker. And the next thing you know, I'm on a blood pressure medication. My cholesterol's out of balance. I can't sleep anymore. You can see this, how this starts to roll. So here's a question for you. I love talking about this when we do live events. Live events are now coming back. But I ask the audience this. If you have a headache, do you have an ibuprofen deficiency? People start to laugh. They get it. But when people have a headache, that's the first thing they reach for. In reality, they might be dehydrated. They might be lacking omega-3 fats. Or this is what I want you to write down. They might be lacking the mineral of relaxation called magnesium. Magnesium helps to relax the body. Magnesium helps with headaches. Magnesium helps blood pressure. Magnesium helps the contraction of the heart. And magnesium helps you stay asleep. So I'll talk about this as we go today. But when you start asking better questions, you start revealing the correct answer. And again, it's no different when Alan was talking about the self-awareness. Some of you are in different places. But when you start asking these questions, you start revealing the answer. All right, number three, we got to understand that food is love, food is social, but food is also medicine and information. Now, if you looked at the top medications in the United States and talk about lifestyle, again, I'm not your doctor, but these are the top 20 lifestyle medications: cholesterol, acid blockers. We talk about mental health. But look at this for a minute. Type 2 diabetes. In 1960, 1 in 4,000 people had type 2 diabetes in the United States. Today, that number is 1 in 10, trending to 1 in 4. This train's off the tracks. So the goal is understanding that these lifestyle medications don't have to be this way. You have complete control over this. And again, working with your health professional. But once you start making these decisions that I want to go down this path, that's where it starts to roll. All right. This is the future medicine cabinet right there, here. So again, we're talking about food is love, food is social, but food is also medicine and information. So again, we're changing the mindset around performance in leadership and understanding some of these pillars before we drive into the big points here. All right, so the other thing I want you to think about is this. I have to tackle beliefs. People have them, you have them, I have them, everybody has it. In my new book, I have a chapter called Box of Beliefs. Now, what holds most people back is not always lack of information. It could be these limiting beliefs. So if I don't tackle beliefs, you're not going to get the results. And that's my main goal today, is give you some amazing results. So in my space, many people believe that carbohydrates make you fat. That's not true. Many people believe to lose weight, you have to do more cardio. That's not true. So if I don't tackle these beliefs, people are not going to get the results. So one of the things I always love to talk about is this thing called cod liver oil. Now, if I ask you right now, how many of you believe cod liver oil tastes bad? Raise your hands. I would guesstimate many of your hands would go right up. And then if I ask the second question, how many believe cod liver oil tastes bad, but you've never had it before? And people start to laugh, they get it. But most people don't take the action of 1 tablespoon a day to get these amazing results. In fact, we have our own cod liver oil. It's made in Dutch Harbor, Alaska. It's high in vitamin D3 naturally. But the reason I'm talking about is this: brain health. The greatest thing you put in the human brain is called DHA. They put in infant formula. The highest source of DHA is cod liver oil. Number 2, great for your heart health, natural anticoagulant. Number 3, it's a natural anti-inflammatory. One of the worst things you can put in the human body is some form of anti-inflammatory medication day in and day out. You get a bee sting, you get a toothache, no problem. But day in and day out, putting that Advil or that Aleve in your body kills your gut health, which destroys the body. So again, it's a natural anti-inflammatory. And last but not least, it's one of the greatest raw materials to build your sex hormones, including testosterone. So that's the big 4: brain health, heart health, natural anti-inflammatory, and hormones, by taking simply the action of 1 tablespoon a day. That's why we talk about it, because again, I'm not going to do it. And Colin's been there before. I'm not going to do it. And then they try it and they're like, oh, that's not even a big deal at all. All right. So now we're going to talk about playing offense. And this is where I don't understand our planet not talking about this. We talk about social distancing and wearing the mask and the vaccine. Fantastic. But even more powerful is what you control. And this is what Alan was all talking about, is self-care. How you breathe, how you sleep, hydration, what you eat, structure, body alignment, and daily movement. This is the offense we're moving forward with right now. And we'll begin with this, rest. So under the rest pillar, so again, I want you to write down rest at the top, and I'm going to give you some key strategies along the way under the rest. And I truly believe the performers I worked with over the years, this is probably the biggest missing link. They're not getting enough rest and recovery. We all know this to go at your high level. And he said at the very beginning, you can't stay focused all the time. You need strategies along the way to help you recover during your day, your week, your month, the list goes on. We'll begin with stress. We could spend all day talking about this, but I want to narrow this right down. The human body has an amazing ability to handle acute stress. Here comes the bear. We're not designed to handle chronic stress, and that's what's killing us today. It's not the bear. The bear is okay. We're really designed for fight or flight. We're not designed to handle the chronic stress. Can I pay my bills? What's going on in the background? The list goes on and on. We all have them. Those are called stressors. So we all have these stressors and the way we interpret them differently, and the list goes on. But again, I really want to go back to the acute stress. We're really good at that. That's great. The chronic stress beats us up. I want you to understand about stress. If I ask you what is stress, your answer would be this. It's physical. That's it. It's physical. Heart rate goes up, blood pressure goes up, pupils dilate, muscles contract. But the big one is this. Digestion starts to change, compromises your immune system. So here's what I want you to write down. You have to have a balanced nervous system to have a healthy, vibrant immune system. I'll say that one more time. You have to have a balanced nervous system to have a healthy, vibrant immune system. That's why we're talking about this before we talk about food. I got to get you understanding about stress, because if you have this chronic beast is at our back door, we're not going to have good digestion. We're not going to have a strong, vibrant immune system. So stress is physical. Then along the way, we could reframe conversations, what we have about stress. I think Alan talked a little bit about that. What can you control? The locus of control, that's a big deal. But simpler than that today, because then that's a big conversation, is changing how you breathe. Now, so simple. The nasal passages are the switchboard for the nervous system. Again, I want you to breathe through your nose 24/7. Even if you're working out, I want you to try to breathe through your nose unless it gets so intense, okay? So again, I worked out this morning. I was definitely breathing through my mouth. But most of the day, breathe through the nose. The nasal passages are the switchboard of the nervous system, and they get better. They get better with use. So again, I have a whole chapter in my book called The Lost Art of Breathing. We need to start breathing through the nose. Number 2, we got to use the diaphragm. As we age, I'm an exercise physiologist. The thing that ages the fastest on most human beings is called lung function. Because we lose the strength of the diaphragm, that's that dome-shaped muscle underneath the lung. So again, we need to make sure that we're using that diaphragm. So here's the big deal. Here's the thing, easy thing to do with you, your clients, your family, friend. Get some birthday balloons. And as you blow up that birthday balloon, you have to use the diaphragm. If you can't blow up the birthday balloon, you know you have a weak diaphragm. First thing we do when we bring clients in here, we give out the birthday balloons. We have them blow it up. They see right away they're not using diaphragm. As you take a deep breath, the belly actually expands. When you exhale, the belly comes back in. That's called a diaphragmatic or belly breath. Okay, that's easy. I can do that. Try that once a day, twice a day. Breathe through the nose, close your eyes, belly goes out, belly comes back in. And last but not least, slow it down. 4-second inhalation, 4, 6, 7 seconds exhalation. This is one of the fastest ways to calm the mind and relax the body. And the fastest way to lower blood pressure is changing how you breathe, hands down. It's not a beta blocker. It's not a calcium channel blocker. It's changing how you breathe through the nose, use your diaphragm, and slowing it down. So this is a skill to help you quiet the mind and relax the body. Number 2, we're going to talk about sleeping. We all know that sleep is incredible. If you don't sleep, you do not live as long. It's that simple. The human body is designed to sleep. So again, what do you need to know about sleep? Number 1, you have 4 stages of sleep. Stage 1 and 2, you go through very quickly. Stage 3 is called hibernation or deep sleep. This is when your hormones are made. So if you shoot me an email, hey, Chris, my testosterone level is 400 or less, we got an issue. We need to make sure we're getting enough deep sleep because that's when your hormones are made. And then it's during REM sleep. Tell everybody about this. It's rapid eye movement when we dream. is when the brain takes out the trash. So if you want to have a healthy brain as you age, because we see Alzheimer's, dementia, everything moving up so quickly, it's because we're not getting enough REM sleep. And it's during REM sleep, first 4 hours, 6 hours of sleep, you can see we get very little REM sleep. But as you get closer to 8 hours, back to performance, back to leadership, if you want to perform better, be better, you have to value sleep. And again, we're getting close to the 8 hours. Before the light bulb was invented, 1879, we were sleeping 10 hours a night. So again, LeBron James says it's the best. The greatest performance enhancement drug on the planet is not sleep. It's 8 hours of sleep. So again, if we want to perform better, we have to start valuing that. And you can see we get very little REM sleep first 4, 5, 6 hours. So again, I've done that before, but that's not my normal practice. That's not my process. My process is getting focused on that 8 hours or more. So very simple. How do we get a better night's sleep? Because the fastest growing group of medications on the planet today, in the world today, is sleep medications. Number one, you have to put a high value on it. I'd have to convince you, if you came in, and Colin's done this with his team, I'm going to say, if you want to be the best in your space, you need recovery. And how do you do that? You need to get sleep. You value it. Number two, I have to plan my sleep. When do I go to bed? When do I get up? It's incredible how many people that we work with have never even thought about planning their sleep. If you have young kids at home, you plan their nap time, you plan their bedtime, you plan everything. But as adults, we kind of get away from that. So again, when do I go to bed? When do I get up? So I create consistent circadian rhythms. They're talking about daylight savings time right now, that what's the best for the human body? When do we go to bed? When do we get up? Then from there, we create this amazing environment. The big thing on environment is this: temperature. The lower the temperature, it helps to relax this thing called the sympathetic nervous system, relaxes the body. I even have a chili pad. It's a mattress pad in the summertime, in the winter, in the Michigan, that I can lower that temperature, and that temperature is 60 to 65 degrees. I don't want you to be cold in your bed. I want you to be cold in your environment. And then morning sunlight, daily movement. We talked about magnesium, maybe taking an Epsom salt bath a couple times a week. And remember screen time. Some people out there, screen time, again, Alan said this best. What is your habit the last 60 minutes before you go to bed? That is a big deal. So again, these are just some strategies to help you sleep along the way. All right, the last little piece we're going to talk about in rest is this: space. We're losing it. In 1940, look at that white space. Again, lots of white space, and we can put anything in that white space, but here's what I want you to take away with this white space. It's where memories are made. In the last part of your life, you and me both, we're all going to talk about memories. I lost my mom 3 years ago. My mom lived with us the last 6 months of her life. All she wanted to talk about is memories and white space. We had a lot of that in 1940. 2007, 2008, we're losing it. And today, this should scare us all. Look at the amount of sleep we're getting. It's actually less than 6.5 hours. Work life is completely blended together. We're spending way too much time on our electronics, and our little white space is shrinking. This is what we're all going to talk about. Coming out of this webinar today, I want you to think about this. How do I expand my white space, and how do I protect it? During COVID, I got to tell you, there's a lot of tragedies happening in our family. We lost 2 close family members. But one of the gifts for me personally was that I realized I didn't have a lot of space in my life. I average about 125 to 150,000 miles in the air a year. With COVID hitting, I couldn't travel anymore. I realized, wow, I didn't have a lot of space in my life. So moving out of this, I'm protecting. I'm not going back to that level. I want that space. You all need that space in your life. And again, when you look at your calendars and you see nothing happening in the next couple days, or you might have a morning off or whatever, you have to plan this. How do you feel? And as we're moving through the day, I want you to think about this. Do you take micro breaks, medium breaks, and bigger breaks? Now you're saying, okay, Chris, what do I need to do? It could be as simple as doing a stretch break. You're standing up right now, I'm twisting. Again, that could be 15, 30 seconds. I could be working on my breathing. Again, that's a break. It could be a hot and cold shower. It could be an Epsom salt bath. I'm a huge Epsom salt bath fan, high in magnesium, absorbed through the skin, 2 cups in a bath, 10 minutes. Fantastic way to recover. Maybe get a massage a couple times a month. Again, maybe some bigger breaks, but I want you to think about, do you plan recovery in your life? And this is what we do with our team every day. Colin knows this could be a simple 30-second stretch break. We need this way to recover. And as we end this rest piece, close the door to the end of your day. What does that mean? You need to have an end of your day. If you're not shutting the door to the end of the day, you're probably not going to get good sleep. You're probably not going to have good digestion. The list goes on and on. You need to close the door to the end of the day. Some type of way to shut the door to the end of the day. Again, for you to be your best, perform at your best as time goes on. Second pillar, here comes the eat. So now we're going to focus on, I'm going to give you 2 simple principles to help us cut through all the noise very quickly. The first principle is this. It's called pH balance. I think this is the thing that woke Colin up and his team way back in the day. Life in the United States today is very acidic. And here's what I want you to write down. Acid equals inflammation. Every disease known in the human race, including COVID, is based on too much inflammation. So again, that was me growing up. Psoriasis, eczema, bologna sandwiches, Kool-Aid and Pepsi. I was an unhealthy eater. So life in the United States is very acidic. On one end of the spectrum is alkaline. That's where we're targeting. You get better gut health. The body cools down. You have less inflammation. That's our goal. In the center is balance, and that's really where the body brings you back into balance. So here's what I want you to understand about pH. If your body's too acidic, the way the body brings it back into balance is through our precious minerals, our kidneys, and our breath. The fastest way to change your pH is changing how you breathe. Number 2, stress is very acidic. Processed foods, alcohol, soda pop, energy drinks, so acidic. So again, it's easy to be acidic in our society today. And if the body's too acidic, your body's always also going to use precious minerals to bring it back into balance. No wonder we're having a restless leg. No wonder we're having acid reflux we've never had before, or gout. The list goes on, because the body's using precious minerals. And the first 2 minerals that go out the door is calcium, followed by magnesium. There we go. Can't sleep anymore. Blood pressure's too high because these minerals are going out the door. So we need to understand, we need to make the body more alkaline. You do it by how you eat, what you drink, how you breathe, how you move. And again, as you make your body more alkaline, you become more, again, less inflammation as time goes on. The second principle is so simple. You could teach this to a 3rd grader. We don't have to learn about GMO or organic or whatever. Ask the question, what's the source? The closer it gets to the source, the easier it is for the body to break down and absorb. That's interesting. So nothing's off limits if we're getting closer to the source. So an easy example of this is flax seeds. Flax seeds, you can buy them everywhere. We have them on our website. Get them any grocery store. They're very inexpensive. Get a cheap coffee grinder, grind enough up for a couple weeks. Once you grind them up, you can put them in a smoothie. You can put them in a salad. Do anything you want with them, a little bit of juice. If you don't grind them up, you'll see them again. But look at the price tag of flax seeds. And then we move to the flaxseed oil. Price goes up, quality goes down. And this is what we're making a mistake during COVID. We're spending way too much time on supplementation. We need to keep going back to the source. You don't need to take vitamin C. You need to eat an orange. You don't need to take vitamin D3. You take the cod liver oil. So again, this is where I want you to get the mindset around getting closer to the source. And if you do that, the body can break it down and absorb it, makes the body more alkaline, the gut gets healthier, the list goes on and on. Again, it's an easy principle: the cell, the source, and the pH. All right. If I'm trying to get you healthy, once we got the nervous system a little bit more in balance, we talked about the breathing, maybe we have a little more recovery, we talked about sleep. Now we have to build the gut. And the gut is your garden. So when I say garden and gut, I mean the same thing. So imagine you building a garden. Spring's almost here in Michigan. Got the healthy soil. You got to plant the healthy seed, and then you got to water it. It's that simple. In the gut lives many, many things, including serotonin, which makes us happy. Also, serotonin makes melatonin. So I'm not a fan of taking melatonin at all, because serotonin makes melatonin. We got to get the gut healthy. So when the gut gets healthier, you get healthier. So think about that for a second. Once we get the nervous system in balance, now we work on the gut. And the first thing we do is we bring in pre, pro, and symbiotic foods. Now you can take a pill, but I'd highly recommend going into the source. So again, prebiotic is the soil, a probiotic is the seed, a symbiotic means both. Now here's a couple big takeaways. Fruit is a natural probiotic. Bananas are great for gut health. You look at ancient grains like real deal oatmeal, that is great for gut health. An apple is a symbiotic, great for gut health And again, it covers lots of ground. So again, if you have acid reflux or digestive health issues, lemons, limes, ginger, apples, bananas. And if you want to make the brain healthier, here comes the potatoes. So again, what do these all have in common? They're all carbohydrates. So again, when people take the carbohydrates out of the diet, you're probably not going to have good gut health long term, having problems sleeping, having trouble relaxing. And then from there, we got to water it. We all know this. If the body is not hydrated, inflammation goes up. So the big step I have with everybody starting out is take the challenge of 50 ounces of water a day. Now, if you're working out, again, hotter climate, I want you to get closer to half your body weight in ounces, but 50 ounces is the minimum. Also, at the beginning of each week, cut up some lemons and some orange slices and drop them in your water. Lemons and very citrus, and again, very good for the gut health, very alkalizing along the way. So whatever beverage you like, slowly try to upgrade that, but take that challenge. Are you drinking 50 ounces a day? I have my water right here in front of me. It's my greatest challenge nutritionally. Am I drinking closer to half my body weight in ounces a day? And many times I don't, but it's a focus. Again, it's trying to create that process. All right, from here, what are most people missing? What most people are missing is this: omega-3 fats. Write that down. Omega-3 fats, 90% of the American population's deficient. So that's why I'm a big fan of the cod liver oil. Now you're saying, well, Chris, I'm taking an omega-3 fat fish oil in a gel tablet. Well, here's the deal. You probably have to take 10 gel tablets to equal 1 of the tablespoon. So again, we don't even sell gel tablets because we want the source. Also, it's high in vitamin D3. Simple in the morning. You got kids, grandkids, have them take it. My grandkids call it muscle juice. It's as simple as this. 1 tablespoon a day, you're done first thing in the morning. The other thing, 2 omega-3 fats is chia seeds and flax seeds. Remember, you need to grind up the flax seeds or you'll see them again. Just make note to self, I need to bring some of these omega-3 fats in my diet. This is the process on a regular basis. On the other side of the equation, you're looking at is chlorophyll. Now, what most people are missing is chlorophyll, anything dark green. The darker the green, more chlorophyll. What does that do for you? It cleans the body, it energizes the body, and makes your gut extremely healthy. So if you have any digestive health issues out there, you got to bring this chlorophyll to the party. Now, what you're looking at is this thing called spirulina chlorella. It's a freshwater algae, helps your immune system. It comes in a tablet form. That's all it is. It's a tablet. That's it. There's nothing else in it. It is the source. You wash it down with water. You don't chew the tablets. You chew them once. You won't chew them again. It's easy. You start with 10 tablets a day. The other thing you're looking at is frozen wheatgrass. It comes right to your house. It's in the ground for 5 months, creates high levels of minerals. It is the highest source of minerals. Just make note to self. I'm going to start drinking my water, 50 ounces a day. I need to take some form of omega-3 fats, now back to the process, and some form of chlorophyll. And then from there, this is on our website. We'll be sending you a link to this. This is my food target. I designed this in 1994. Now, what you're looking at on the screen does not have the foods in it. I have it right here in front of me. It actually has all the foods in it. So again, there's lots of things in here, but the big takeaway is this: it's forgiving. It's not about being perfect. It's always a process. The red area is the processed foods. The green area is the whole or the source foods. All you're trying to do is upgrade. That's it. Next step. There's 3 macronutrients. That's all there is: carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. If you take a macronutrient out of the diet, you will have a macro problem. So in the 80s, we took out fat. That was a disaster. And then today, it's the high fat, no carb. Just remember, everybody, you need healthy fats, healthy proteins, and healthy carbohydrates to make the body sing. Now, dive into it just a little deeper. When we think about carbohydrates, don't be afraid of them. They're essential for optimal health. I've competed in 10 bodybuilding contests, and Colin will tell you, I'm eating my oatmeal on the run every morning. I'm eating bananas regularly. I'm eating apples. Do not be afraid of this stuff. They're essential for optimal brain health and gut health. So again, oatmeal in the morning, I have oatmeal on the run. I eat bananas, fruit, ancient grains, again, potatoes. You need to make sure they're not talking about Cheetos. We're not talking about Fritos. We're talking about how do you slowly upgrade your carbohydrates. Same thing goes with protein. I do eat animal protein. My recommendation is this: eat less animal protein. And if you do eat animal protein, make it better. That's my goal. If I can get wild Alaskan salmon, I can get bison and get organic chicken, I do. But I get a lot of protein from nuts and seeds. Now, here's a big takeaway. I don't recommend protein powders, period. They put a lot of stress on your gut called, one of the kidney functions is called GFR. It's on that blood test. I've seen major changes in people's GFR because they're doing too much stuff, including protein powder. If you're trying to add more protein to your smoothie or adding it to a salad, whatever you're trying to do, hemp seeds, Brazil nuts, pumpkin seeds, lots of ways to get healthy fats and healthy proteins in your diet. And the last thing is understanding the power of fat. Fats are great for brain health. Fats are great for hormones. They help balance helps your inflammation. Coconut is an MCT oil. Don't get crazy with this. We don't have to take MCT oil. We have to take coconut. That is MCT oil. We have extra virgin olive oil, avocados, and then our omega-3 fats. We talked about that, cod liver oil, flax, and chia. And the last thing I want you to write down is this, omega-6 fats. Brazil nuts, pumpkin seeds, and hemp seeds. They're high in selenium, they're high in zinc, they're high in omega-6 fats, and they're also high in protein. So again, this is what's missing, especially for COVID, is that zinc and selenium, and you get it from that pumpkin seeds, Brazil nuts, and those hemp seeds. So again, this is what I put in my smoothie if I'm trying to add more protein along the way. So again, upgrade these carbs, proteins, and fats. And last thing we're going to talk about is fasting. There's so much information about this. Let's make this simple. The human body needs a time to clean. That's it. It's called autophagy. Don't make it harder than this. People are fasting for a lot of reasons, and I think the number one reason is they want to lose weight. But when you shrink your time too much, you start missing nutrients. So I'm a big fan of doing a 12 to 14 hour overnight cleanse. Most nights I do 14 hours. So if I've eaten at 8 p.m., I'm not eating again till 10 a.m. But if I go too long, what's going to happen is I start shrinking my time, I change my metabolism, and again, people are shrinking this more than ever before. So I want you to fast overnight to keep the body clean. But again, once you start getting more than that, you really need to know what you're doing. And many times people are missing their nutrients. All right, last bucket here is the move. Now, motion creates positive emotion. So if anybody's out there talking about mental health and they're talking about anxiety, we got to get the body moving. Now, most of you are working out on a regular basis. I get that. But I want you to move every day. The mindset is going to change. I want to move your body every single day for at least 5 to 10 minutes. Now, Chris, that's not enough. I'm here to tell you, 82 to 85% of our population does not move. We make it too hard. We need to move the body. And remember, motion creates positive emotions. So that's the first step, is changing the mindset. I need to move. Number 2, on the back of our handout, I do this every day. I did this morning. It's called dynamic warm-up. It's 2.5 minutes. Warm up my body. I'm going to go play pickleball, paddleball. I'm going to play tennis, golf, whatever it might be. Get in the gym. Again, I'm moving my body, or I don't have a lot of time. I'm in the airport last week coming back from Wyoming. Again, it's an easy thing to do. 2.5 minutes. It's called dynamic warm-up. We have videos on our website. It's on the back of this when you order it, or you can get it right off our website. Underneath that, I'm a huge fan of yoga. And again, I don't always have time to do yoga. My daughter's our yoga instructor. But these are yoga movements that's in a 5-minute routine. Works on your structure, your body alignment, your flexibility, all rolled into one. So again, 5 minutes. Hey, Chris, what's your balance like? Your flexibility, mobility. As I get older, again, 65 in a couple months, I spend a lot of time on my mobility, my flexibility, and my restorative movements because I want to keep doing what I want to do. And then from there, when you put it all together, where most people make mistake, they do way too much cardio. So sometimes I have to get on Colin about, hey, Colin, I want you to run. I want you to do all this endurance, but I want to make sure that you're not overdoing the cardio. You can never out-exercise a bad diet. Strength training is the fountain of youth. If you're 50 years old and you want to be a high performer, as we age, we know this. We need to maintain muscle or maybe expand our muscle. So I'm always talking about strength training is the fountain of youth. Could be an body weight squat, could be a push-up, could be a row, whatever it is. But if you're not strength training, we need to understand the power of strength training. It is the fountain of youth. And the last piece is we got to play. I love the word play. I have a whole chapter in my book entitled on play. Here's what I want you to take away of play. The opposite of play is not work. The opposite of play is depression. We need to play from the beginning of our lives to the end of our lives. And what do you see this little girl doing? You see her smiling. And I guarantee her mom is smiling. We need to play more. I understand many of you are really into the workouts and the rigidity. I get that. But I don't want you to think about you need to red line every day. Redlining means it's too hard. You need to sometimes back up and play. But again, I do this all the time. I was up north last weekend, constantly trying to play because, again, it's fun. And when you listen to adults play, that time disappears. They start to laugh. And again, great for the mental aspect and also the physical. And the last thing I'll mention about movement, the greatest benefit, I just hit it, is not what it does for my body, it's what it does for my mind. Motion creates that positive motion, washes my brain. And again, when I'm feeling down and I need to get going, move your body 2 or 3 minutes. It's shockingly how it's going to make your energy come back and your brain feel great. All right, as I summarize this, under the rest category, am I working on my breathing? The nose, the belly, the slowness. If you're not doing that, that would be a key takeaway today. Again, Alan hit this beginning. We're all about this. How do you build one habit at a time? How do you do it? You do it one habit at a time. It's that simple. If your sleep's not where you want it to be, could you go to bed 30 minutes earlier? What are you doing before you go to bed? What's your environment look like? Do you plan your sleep? Is it too hot, too cold? What's the temperature like? All that stuff goes with it. Am I consuming enough magnesium foods to help me stay asleep? That's why my morning breakfast is loaded with magnesium. It's called Oatmeal on the Run. It's on our website. Maybe it's an Epsom salt bath a couple times a week. Am I taking any micro breaks? What under the rest category resonate with you today? And that's what I want you to focus on. Number 2, under the eat. Are you fasting for 12 to 14 hours consistently? Again, Alan was talking about habits. What does it look like? That's a habit that I've been doing forever. Are you drinking enough water? Maybe you have a little acid reflux and you're going to start adding lemon to the water, or maybe ginger in the evening with maybe herbal tea or hot water. Maybe the cod liver oil or the flax or chia, or maybe the chlorophyll, I need to add some superfoods to my diet. Or what do I eat the most of? How can I make that a little bit better? That's what we're all about, upgrading. And one of the handouts we have is called Brand Favorites. All it is a shopping list with better versions at any grocery store. And then from there, we move into the movement and changing the mindset of moving your body every day. Are you working on some mobility and flexibility? Do you have some of these things? Do you put some goals out there that maybe, and one of the things I always have with my clients is I set out their number goals, their blood pressure, their resting heart rate, their homocysteine, and all that. But then we get into some of the physical goals. What do they really want to accomplish? Do they need to work on their mobility, flexibility? So again, under each of these categories, I want you to think about what can you take away in building one habit at a time. And as I end here, this is my direct email, my name, Chris Johnson at ontargetliving.com. So if you do have a question, shoot me an email. That's the name of our website, ontargetliving.com. We have a podcast that comes out every week. We have an app. And my brand new book called Rest, Eat, Move just came out in January. It's 375 pages. Colin's on it. So Colin's in it. It's color. It's good paper. It's all fun. So it took me 2 years to write. I'm really excited about that. And I'll end with this. In our world today, again, I've given you lots of information today. We're going to start taking one step at a time. But remember, the greatest asset of any organization is you, and the greatest asset of you is your health. And sometimes we all get there, it gets a little sideways. But leaving here today, I want you to think about this. Alan gave us some great nuggets along the way. You got some great presenters coming right up after me. But number 1 is tell everybody in your world how much you love them. We need to have more love in our world. Number 2, I want you to tell them how much you need them. That's a different conversation. That's a big mistake I made with my father. I lost my dad 11 years ago. I told him all the time how much I loved him, but rarely did I tell him how much I needed him. And last but not least, everybody has bridges to cross in their lives. You have them, I have them, but you don't have to cross these bridges alone. And this is what I've seen during the pandemic, that we need to bring all of us together. And if you have any bridge to cross, bring other people in your world back in, because everybody wants to help others cross these bridges. So with that being said, I'm going to hand it off to Mr. Colin Lake. And again, thanks for the opportunity to chat with you today.